Arjuna stood on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, surrounded by armies, conch shells, dust, and destiny itself. Yet the battlefield outside was not his biggest conflict. The real war was happening within his mind. In front of him stood his teachers, his cousins, his elders, his own blood. His bow slipped from his hands, his body trembled, and his heart was heavy with confusion. At that moment, Arjuna asked a question that has echoed through human consciousness for thousands of years. Krishna, if everything is already decided by destiny, if fate governs all outcomes, then why should I act at all? Why should I fight? Why should I make any effort? This question is not just Arjuna's question. It is our question. Every human being, at some point, wonders whether their efforts truly matter. If success and failure are already written, why struggle? If destiny controls life, why take responsibility? Why work hard? Why sacrifice? Why endure pain? Arjuna's doubt represents the deepest existential dilemma faced by humanity, the conflict between free will and destiny. Krishna did not answer Arjuna immediately with a simple yes or no. Instead, he unfolded a timeless wisdom that goes far beyond the battlefield. Krishna first made Arjuna understand that his confusion was rooted in a misunderstanding of what destiny actually means. Destiny, Krishna explained, is not a script that forces you to act like a puppet. Destiny is the result of past actions, but present actions are the seeds of future destiny. To abandon action out of fear or confusion is itself an action, and often the most dangerous one. Krishna told Arjuna that no living being can remain without action, even for a moment. The very act of breathing, thinking, or feeling is action. Even choosing not to act is still a choice, and therefore still karma. Arjuna believed that by dropping his bow, he was choosing peace. But Krishna revealed that this inaction would lead to greater destruction of dharma, of responsibility, and of Arjuna's own inner growth. Krishna then introduced one of the most profound ideas in the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of karma yoga. He explained that humans have control only over their actions, not over the results. The mistake Arjuna was making was that he was overly attached to outcomes: victory, defeat, sin, reward. Krishna said that when action is performed with attachment to results, it creates fear, anxiety, and paralysis. But when action is performed as duty, without attachment, it becomes liberating. Krishna said, "You have the right to action alone, but never to its fruits." This statement does not deny destiny. It reframes it. Destiny governs outcomes, but effort governs character. Your actions shape who you become, regardless of what the world gives you in return. Arjuna was focused on what would happen after the war, but Krishna wanted him to focus on who he would become by running away from it. Krishna further explained that destiny is not something imposed from outside. Destiny is karma accumulated over countless lives. Every action performed with desire leaves an impression on the mind, shaping future tendencies. Therefore, what we call destiny is simply the momentum of past choices. To refuse action now because of destiny is like refusing to steer a boat because the river already has a current. Wise people use effort to navigate destiny, not escape it. Krishna also addressed Arjuna's fear of sin. Arjuna believed that killing his relatives would bind him to terrible karma. Krishna corrected him by explaining intention. Action performed for personal gain creates bondage, but action performed for the protection of dharma, without selfish desire, does not bind the soul. Krishna reminded Arjuna that as a warrior, his duty was not violence, but justice. To abandon duty out of emotional attachment would be a greater sin than fulfilling it with clarity. At this point, Krishna revealed a deeper truth. The self is beyond action. The body acts, the mind chooses, but the soul remains untouched. Just as the sun is not affected by the actions happening under its light, the true self is not affected by the actions of the body. Krishna wanted Arjuna to understand that he was confusing his temporary identity with his eternal nature. Once this confusion dissolves, action becomes effortless. Krishna then made a powerful statement. Even God does not interfere with human action. He said that He created the system of karma, but He does not force anyone to act. Humans are free to choose, but they are not free from the consequences of those choices. This balance between freedom and responsibility is the core of existence. Destiny is not a cage, it is a classroom. Krishna explained that when people surrender to destiny and abandon effort, they fall into tamas, inertia, ignorance, and decay. Such surrender is not spiritual, it is escapism. True surrender is not giving up action, but giving up ego. When action flows without ego, destiny aligns naturally. Krishna also addressed the illusion of control. Humans believe they are the doers, but in reality, nature performs all actions through the three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. The wise person understands this and acts without pride. The ignorant person believes, "I am the doer," and suffers. Arjuna was suffering not because he had to fight, but because he believed he alone was responsible for everything. Krishna then offered a revolutionary idea: act as an instrument. When action is offered to the divine, it no longer creates bondage. Krishna told Arjuna, become merely a channel. The war has already been set in motion by cosmic forces. Your role is to participate consciously, not resist blindly. This does not remove responsibility. It removes fear. Krishna's teaching reaches its peak when he says that destiny and free will are not opposites, they are partners. Destiny provides circumstances, free will determines response. Two people can face the same destiny and emerge completely different based on how they act. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wise. Arjuna finally understood that the question was never, why should I act if everything is destiny? The real question was, how should I act within destiny? Krishna's answer was clear. Act with awareness, act with duty, act without attachment, and act in alignment with truth. This teaching is not limited to war or ancient times. In modern life, we constantly face the same dilemma. When we fail, we blame destiny. When we succeed, we claim credit. Krishna teaches balance. Accept outcomes with humility, but never abandon effort. Life is not asking us to control everything. It is asking us to show up fully. Krishna concluded that action performed in ignorance binds, action performed in desire exhausts, but action performed in wisdom liberates. Destiny may decide the field, but effort decides the journey. The soul grows not by avoiding action, but by transforming action into awareness. Arjuna picked up his bow again, not because he was certain of victory, but because he was certain of duty. His confusion dissolved, not because destiny became clear, but because his role within destiny became clear. And that is Krishna's message to all of us. Do not ask whether destiny exists. Ask whether you are acting consciously. Do not escape responsibility in the name of fate. Act, not for reward, not for fear, but for truth. Because destiny may decide where you stand, but your actions decide who you become.